All right, well, I'm glad that if you're watching this, obviously you can hear me, that you are taking the extra effort to be ready for the test tomorrow. So I want to commend you for that, and hopefully by watching this, you feel a little bit more confident in yourself that you can get that goal of getting 80% or more on the test tomorrow. So we're just going to go through each problem kind of quickly so you can kind of see exactly how you would solve it. So we'll start with number 1, order of operations. You would start with the parentheses. So 5 plus 3 is 8. I'm going to rewrite this squared there. And I know 8 squared is 64, so I'll rewrite all this. 12 plus 64 divided by 2 minus 10. So now I will need to do division. So I'll be left with 64 divided by 2, which is 32. So when I rewrite it, I'll have 12 plus 32 minus 10. So now because I have addition and subtraction, I just go right to left. 12 plus 32 is going to be 44 minus 10. Our answer is going to be 34. Okay, number 2, we have lots of parentheses, lots of exponents. So let's start here. We'll start with 2 cubed minus 7. I know 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And 8 minus 7 is 1. Plus, now I'm already seeing this is one's a little bit different than the one we did for your study guide, so I don't know why somebody must have changed it before, because I printed off a new one, but that's okay. So here I have 2 squared, which is 4, divided by 2 to the first, which is 2. So I have 1 plus, now I have 2, plus 12 times 3 is 36, and I have it divided by 3. So now I have to do my division. 36 divided by 3 is 12. So my work is I have 1 plus 2 plus 12, which is going to equal 15. And again, this problem was changed a little bit from the one that we did. They made it a little bit easier because I think we had like 2 to the 6th power here, and 2 to the 4th there, and 2 to the 6th there. Right. Number 3, the one that we did the best, you're just going to plug in. So wherever you see H, here you're going to put in 3. So 3 times 3. So I go 3 times 3 is 9, plus 15 is 24. Here I have 15 plus 3 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 15 is 30. And my next one is 15 plus 3 times 7. That's 21. 15 plus 21 is 36. That's one we probably did the best as a class. Okay, this next one, it says 6s squared. So I'm taking 6s squared, and it says when s equals 10. Okay, now remember this is the label, so don't worry about that. So we'll just rewrite this as 6 times 10 squared. So 10 squared is 100, and then 6 times 100 is 600 is my answer. Okay, this next one is one of the trickier ones. I've told you is the ones that students struggle with the most. I rewrite it as 7 times 9 times 4 squared. Remember, the key is we got to follow order of operations, so we have to do the exponent first. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So now I have 7 times 9, 63, and I need to times it by 16. So I'll come over here, do my multiplication. I know that 6 times 3 is 18, carry a 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Okay, now what I like to do on a test is I just like to quickly go over that. Once I wait to the end, it's too confusing. So I just quickly say, okay, did I do it right? 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, I did it right. Carry a 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1, 37. Okay, I did it right. Now I add my place value, 0. 1 times 3 is 3, and 6 times 1 is 6. Okay, again, check your work there, 3 and 6. Okay, so I just add 8, 0, because 7 plus 3 is 10, carry a 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10. So my answer is 1008. Okay. Okay, our next one, coefficients. Okay, I talk to myself and say, oh, coefficient, that's before the variable. So I look at all my numbers before the variable, and they will be 7, 4, and 5. I look at my variables, they're going to be w, x, and y. I look at my terms, okay. I know that there's 4 terms, 7w squared, 4x, 5y, 15, and my constant is 15. Okay, now I think these are the ones we're still on the bottom here, struggling with. 7 less than, okay, I know I've got a flipper there, so I'm just gonna, I like to just write it as I go, so I know it's gonna be minus a 7 because it flips, right? Quotient, that is division of 6 and x, and there's no interchanging or flipping on division, so I put 6 divided by x minus 7. Now, part of me also says, okay, do I need parentheses here? And the answer is no, because it doesn't say that I'm going to be multiplying anything from minus 7. So there's my answer. Now, number 8, on the other hand, I know is going to have parentheses because it starts with the sum of 14 and y. So what it wants us to do is first figure out what the answer of 14 plus y is. And then it says times it by 10. The challenge is if I don't put parentheses, I would actually have to go y times 10 first. Sorry, you're going to hear an announcement.
Hey everybody, this is Cher. So tomorrow should be a colder day where all the kids should probably be prepared with a heavier coat.
Okay, and our last one, a cube of a number, and I know cube is n to the 3rd power, but we say cube. Cube of a number increased by, and I know increased is addition. Product is multiplication of 7 and a number. And it doesn't clarify very well, but it's the same variable here, so we're going to use 7. The product of 7 and a number is 7 times a number. Okay, there's page 1. Complete in the books. All right, or come up here, we're combining like terms. I like to start with my biggest exponents. So here I have an x squared. So I'm going to start with my x squareds. So I have a 7x squared, and don't forget the minus there. Ooh, it's kind of gotten erased. And I'm minusing 3x squared, so I'm going to have 4x squareds. Okay, so in fact, I'm just going to cross these off so my brain sees those are done. Now, I got to do my x's. So I got a 14x minus an 11x, which is going to give me a plus 3x. So I cross off my x's. And then I'm going to go 14 plus 50 is going to be 64. Okay, there's my answer, so I'm done. Our next combining like terms, I'm going to start with the squareds again. So I have 19y squared plus 14y squared, which is going to be 33y squared. But I have this minus 4y squared, so I'm going to have 29y squareds. I'm going to cross off all those. And then I'm going to say, oh, I only have one y, only 22y, so I can't combine it with anything. So I'm going to cross off my 22y, and now I have a 30 plus a 45, so my answer is going to be plus 75. Now we're writing expressions from story problems. Andrew owns 3 fewer DVDs than Paul. Let K represent the number of Paul's DVDs. Write the expression that can be used to find the number that Andrew owns. Okay, so here's what we're either going to, we know that it's because we're talking about fewer. It's either going to be K minus 3 or 3 minus K. Okay, that's going to be what it's going to be. So what you have to do is you just have to look closely and say, okay, what is it? What is it actually telling us? Well, it's telling us that Andrew has less than Paul. And we know that K is Paul. I know it's kind of confusing. We should have probably just done P as Paul. But that's why it's going to be this option. Which part B is going to help you answer that. Because if you would have chose this option, well, when it says Paul has 25 DVDs, how many did Andrew have? So if you would have done this, that doesn't make sense. 3 minus 25, that's going to give you a negative number. Okay? But when we come up here and we replace, we say 25 minus 3, and the answer is Andrew has 22 DVDs. An online store sells specialty bags. They charge $8 for shipping and $21 per bag. Write an expression that can be used to find the total cost in dollars for B bags, including shipping. Okay, so I'm trying to think, which one am I going to have to multiply multiple times, because I know it's saying price per bag, and remember, anytime you see per bag or each bag, you know it's going to be multiplication. So I know it's going to be 21B because each bag is $21. But what about that $8? Well, it's charge, okay? So charge is plus 8, right? And I do want to remind you that if you ever see something like discount, okay, discount is a subtract because we're saving money. They're taking money away. So charging is adding more. Discounting, the opposite, is taking away. This problem is just talking about charging. So there's our expression. And it says if I had 8 bags, how much would it cost? So I need to go 21 times 8, which will give me $168. But don't forget, I have to pay $8 in shipping, which now it's going to cost $176. Daryl's buying apples and bananas. He bought A pounds of apples that cost $2 per pound. Again, here's that per. So I know it's going to be 2A. And B pounds that cost $1 per pound. So I know I don't need to do 1B. I'm just going to do B, because remember, there's always that invisible 1 sitting out there. So the question is, how do I find the total cost? Well, I'm adding, because I would take the apples plus the bananas. And so part B says if I bought 1.5 pounds of bananas, so when I rewrite that, I just put 1.5, because I'm already going to times it by 1 if you wanted to do this. If that's going to help you, because it's $1 for each pound, so I'm doing 1 pound times 1.5 pounds. If that's going to help you, I just would not include the times 1. And here it's saying 3.2 pounds of apples, so $2 times 3.2. And when I times these, I'm going to get $6.40 for the apples. And I'm going to get $1.50 for the bananas, which gives me a total of $7.90 for both. You and your friends go to the restaurant and they split the bill evenly. Write an expression, okay? Keyword here is splitting the bill. So we're trying to figure out how much each person's going to pay. So we got to ask ourselves, what are we actually dividing up? Because that's what's going to go here. Okay, our first number. What are we dividing up? Okay, are we dividing up the friends, or are we dividing up the dollars? And hopefully we don't say friends. We are dividing up the bill, $75, and we're dividing them amongst F people. All right, and we're on to our last page. I can't see the top of that because it's a thing on my screen, but it's about renting a surfboard. It's $12 plus $2 for each hour. Again, there's that each. So I know it's multiplication. So I'm going to write it as $2. Oh, they want us to use H, sorry. $2 per hour. But I'm going to have to pay that $12 no matter what. So plus 12, there's my expression. So if I rent it for 4.25 hours, how much would it cost me? Now don't forget, I still have to pay that $12. So I'm going to times those together, and I'll get $8.50, and then I'm going to add 12. Now, if you're going to do that, make sure you line up decimals. So that's $8.50. This is like $12, so I need to line up my decimals. So I'll have to add some zeros, and my answer is going to be $20.50. Okay, some of the hardest ones that we on the test are when it asks us to find the keyword there is greatest common factor to create an equivalent expression. So we're trying to factor out whatever that greatest common factor is. So In fact, I'm going to have to rewrite this over here to get more room. So we say, what can we bring out? Well, we went through this as a class. You can't bring out 1, 2, 3. Okay, to save, I almost forgot this C. To save time, we figured out it was 13. Now don't forget, we can also bring out a C. So I cross off my C's, but don't forget to bring it out. Now I have no more C's to bring down, so all I'll do is say, what's 52 divided by 13? And the answer is 4. And what's 65 divided by 13? And the answer is 5. So when I rewrite it, I just say 13C parentheses 4 plus 5. Now, I can always check my work, use the distributive property. 13 times C is 52C, and 13C times 5 is 65C. All right, we're getting close to being done here. So we have 36B plus 54. So I can factor out a 9 for sure. Now I can't factor out a B because there's only one B. There's none over here. So when I factor out a 9, 36 divided by 9 is only going to leave me with 4. But my B needs to come down. So I have 4B plus 6. Because 54 divided by 9 is 6. But I can still factor something out of 4 and 6. I can factor a 2. So now I have 2B. Don't forget to bring down your B. Plus 3. So now, to find the greatest common factor, I times these together. 9 times 2 is 18. And inside my parentheses, I have 2B plus 3. And our last one, 45H plus 60H. Okay, what can I factor out? Well, I can definitely bring out a 5. And they each have an H, so I can bring out an H. So I'm going to cross it off, and don't forget to bring your H out. So now I have left over 45 divided by 5 is 9. 60 divided by 5 is 12. Oh, I can bring something out of 9 and 12. It's going to be 3. And what will be left over would be 3 and 4. Nothing can come out of that. So I multiply to get my greatest common factor. 5H times 3 is 15H. And I'm going to do in parentheses 3 plus 4. Always check, can I factor anything out of these? Okay, it's not uncommon for a student to only factor out a 5H. Make sure you always say, can anything come out of these two? Okay, because we will have to mark you wrong if you don't actually bring out the greatest common factor. That's what that needs to be. And our last one is, I'm going to do some erasing here. Select all the expressions that are equivalent to 8x minus 24. So I just have to use properties we've learned. Here's the distributive property. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 3 is 24. And there's a minus sign. Okay, all right, that works. Okay, my next one. 8 times x is 8x. Minus 8 times 24. That's going to be a big number. That's a no. Now on this one, I do 9 times x is 9x minus 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, and then I have a minus x and a minus 3. 9x minus x, it will be 8x, so far I'm good. But when I have minus 27 and I'm minusing 3 more, the answer is actually going to be minus 30, so close, but it is incorrect. I'll have to erase to get some work done here. In our next one, we have 5 plus 3 is 8. And then this x, you can multiply it. 8 times x is 8x. Now, so my answer, 8x minus 24. Okay, that is definitely going to be a good one. And this bottom one definitely isn't going to make sense. Now this second one's a little bit trickier. We actually have to solve it first. So 3 times 4x is 12x. And then 3 times 1 is 3. So let's take 9x. Oops, sorry, I lost my pencil here. Let's take 9x plus 3x is going to be 12x. We're good so far. 2 plus 1 is 3. Ooh, first one's good. Okay, second one. It is not good. 12x plus 12 is not the same. Third one, it's already there. We're done. It's awesome. Fourth one, 15x minus 3x is going to be 12x. We're good so far. 8 minus 5 is going to be 3, and they are equivalent. And the fourth one, 4x times 3x is actually going to be 12x squared. And then 4x times 1 is plus 4x. So you can see here, this is definitely not the right one. All right, hopefully that little extra work will get you ready for the test. Remember, practice is what prepares you for greatness. So hopefully this little extra work will give you confidence as you take the test tomorrow. We'll see you in the morning.